try to find four girls.
We'll try to find girls.
We just try to do
What
it.
up, gang? Nah,
Coach, what up?
just wrapped up practice.
Oh yes, man, you looking
Shots.
like you got a good workout.
Yeah, you know, I've been running up and down. I
Hopefully, you
don't know
got
how to
some
flip my
W's.
camera. Huh?
Hopefully, you got
Huh?
some W's today.
Yeah, I don't, you know, I can't be losing out here.
So we gonna try to find
That's a
four
fact.
girls or five girls.
That's a
Can't be
fact.
losing out here. What's up with y'all, man?
Same old, same
Boy,
old.
go.
Oh, I think he banged on himself.
Yeah, probably realized that it wasn't the most opportune after practice setting to
There you
conducive
go.
for.
Yeah, but coach, your audio is a little underwatery still. I don't know what it is.
Cause it's probably I'm in the gym. Let me hit y'all back when I get upstairs.
All right.
All right.
All right,
But yeah, but coach, yours is still a little underwatery too. You gotta just like this. That's better? Nah. It's not better? Nah, go back with the headphones. Oh wait.
that's better.
Yeah, much better. Yeah, you live now.
Yeah, man. You seen that article I sent you
Um,
about the teacher, about the parent, about the parent pulling their daughter from school because his daughter's being made to feel feel guilty for her and how you feel about that?
well, I didn't get to read the article, but it was they pulled the student from school because the school was too woke, right?
Yeah, they were speaking about George Floyd and Black Lives
Yeah,
Matter and privilege and
I I agree with that energy, man. I don't. I think in all of this, everybody being so woke when it's convenient, and then when, for example, the year after George Floyd, more heinous killings happen, but there's no protest. So what does that tell you about the movement in and of itself? You know, so the only real demographic that's getting hurt by everybody being so woke is us. Like we can't afford to go with the tides of fashion. So I agree with people standing up for their truths. And if you feel like a school is fronting, like, by trying to include this diverse curriculum, then it's better for the truth to be the front runner, even if people don't like it, than for all of us to be fronting. Like the fronting has got to go. So I agree with it, man. That's what I think.
but the father. So you think the father is from was white, and so one of the major things was uh, that he felt like the curriculum was making his daughter feel guilty, and the curriculum was making
Yeah.
yeah. But I think on the flip side of that, like, all right, well, look what the curriculum that black and brown bodies have been indoctrinated with, you know, since the existence of education. It's a woke statement, but it's a statement of privilege to be able to pull, to be able to say now at this point, oh, I don't, this curriculum is not conducive to empowering my kid. I'm
Of
getting her
course.
out of there. But like,
Of course.
but that same on the other side of the coin, you got kids who have been been indoctrinated in the same way, and nobody, what I mean, there's been no articles or nobody has reached out to parents to ask them, okay, what's the problem with the system? Like this man has been able to be showcased in the spotlight. So I think that to me that's not necessarily the parent, but the platform that this parent is given is to me problematic.
Yeah, I mean that it's definitely problematic, but that ain't nothing new. But the only people that see these are age old conversations. Not age
Mhm.
old, but since the inception of America. I was just reading The Gift of Black Folks by W.E.B. Du Bois, and he was saying how in I believe it was during the Civil War, there was no, not the yeah, during the Civil War, most of the American population had no clue that black soldiers had already been fighting for one side or the other for white causes, basically. So most of America was like, no, you can't give. I mean, you know what they were saying, but you can't give black people guns and allow them to fight. It has nothing to do with them. Like they're slaves. Like you know what I'm saying? Most of the American public was like, "What are you talking about? Like these aren't human beings."
Mhm.
But meanwhile, we had already been fighting in wars and proving ourselves in terms of valor and whatever. So, and it's documented. So the general public is way behind our reality. So if we're stuck in the general public's debate, then we lose. We continue to lose. When we talk, if we talking about the same thing the general public is talking about, we're losing. That's how it goes. Even now, we as a people are so disconnected from our true history. Why would we worry about what some white people think about them being taught a bit of our history? They would have to take Black history for 17 years to have, you know, one semester of what it actually means to be Black in America. We would have to get that education. I think it's more so. Long story short, it's way more important to have knowledge of self than to be concerned with the next person is doing. And we don't have knowledge of self. Some of us do, but it's not a black national identity. It's not a black state understanding. It's like we're still fractured. We're still, every school has a black person in it. Well, hopefully, at least one who makes $40,000 to $50,000 a year, which is half of what they should be making, and they're in charge of the moral fabric of that community, not just the institution. Think about that. That's the good old Uncle Tom man me slave archetype.
Yeah, I think my main fear, not fear, but the roadblock that I always find myself running into as it relates to education and education reform is that most of these institutions are these educational institutions are whitewashed, and they have a tenured teachers that are in these that are in these vacant these that are filling these roles as educators. And so, like, when I think about PDs and I think about all of those things, it's like, how much work or how much change is actually going to be done when you have educators who already subscribe to a certain methodology or a certain what do they call it, pedagogy. Like, you're paying all of this money for this PD, but and however powerful or enlightening the PD is, if the educators there are stuck in their ways, then what is the PD even really for, right? Why, I mean, outside of somebody with educational expertise like ourselves to be able to monetize our knowledge, but in regards to actually helping to curate change, like what does that even really look like, yo? Like, is that even is that even really a reality? And then I think about like Dr. Umar Johnson, who has who has had this space to build his own school for several years now, but he doesn't necessarily have the funds to fix certain things to get it up and running. It's like these conversations about having your own school, but also needing to opt into some form of some form of help or support from either our own community or people outside of the community, kind of lends itself back to the same, saying to the same situation, that we're PDing for. They're telling you we're going to start a whole new school. Like, it just seems sometimes like there's like a cycle that though however woke you choose to be, that like you said, it's a broke system. This system is working how it's supposed to work, and it's prepared to run how it's going to run for another hundreds of thousands of years. And like, so what places that put educators in that want to change, but ultimately they're up against the system that is doing what it's supposed to do. Like, I know it has to be specifically. I think about educators that are 30 years my senior, 30 years our seniors. Like, how, like, I look at them and they're just worn out. They're burnt out, bro. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I mean, yeah, everyone at this point, everyone should be burnt out. Like, at this point, if you was doing what you were supposed to be doing, you should be kind of near the end of what you have left in the tank. This is the fourth quarter. This is the last couple of months of school. As an educator, you should be. But I think to address the change that you want to see, you have to be more than an educator. You have to be a learner. So you have to be courageous. And I don't think it's hard to start a school. I think it'll take a lot of energy, but probably not more energy than a couple of years in the classroom anyways. So I think what it takes though is the courage and the commitment. So like, I'll use myself as an example. I was just really trying to handle what I could handle in my life so that I could keep certain things afloat. I want to preserve the house for my family. That's not easy. Like, I have to, it's money coming out of my pocket every month that I'm not even, I don't got it like that not yet. I don't have it like that to be, handling a mortgage and somebody else's situation. But now at this point, in order for the change that we want to see happen, in order for it to really gain traction, it takes us doing it. It's just like any other thing in life. If we call ourselves educators and we stay in the box of an educator, then we'll be educators stuck in the box. As that's not going to change. But if we want to actually affect that change, I'm not terribly invested in that right now. Just because I've seen how fractured the energy is, and I'm not gonna lie, I bought the lie. I thought everyone was like they were really trying to fix things and whatever. It felt good to me, and it felt like finally, like, we're here. But the more I see it, the more I process, the more I realize people was really just more selfishly motivated, which that's not a bad thing. It's just when everyone drifts back into their own lives and you're still sitting there like, oh, so this was just more. I thought it was something different, but silly me. So it's like I can observe it without being emotional now. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean that's the best way to do it, right? Because I mean that with anything that allows you to see things through a clear lens when you're able to remove emotion. I think about the pushes to get kids back into school. Next year. I don't know about Massachusetts, but New York, like, they want kids back in the building. As many kids they can get in the building. But the thing that I'm most concerned about is not even necessarily the kids. I mean, I think the kids, the students' dynamic now changes a lot, and I think that's something that you have to really account for. Come bringing kids back in the building who've had this amount of control and freedom over their education in a way that they've never had. Now that for them to be back in the building and back in the classroom setting, I think the people who are going to struggle the most are educators. Because now the thing that they once controlled, now they won't control it anymore, or they don't control it anymore. And now when kids get back into the physical classroom, it's gonna be treated like a Zoom classroom. Like how to like what and then schools have a lot of PDs and a lot of training for like COVID, and they have these they got teachers taking these assessments about what they learned through COVID. But I think most importantly, they need to start thinking about how's that applicable to when you're back in the building. And then also like it's just some teachers who are like, I don't even want to be in the building no more. Like the brick and mortar means nothing to me. Like so I think you have a lot of your great educators or your most impactful educators in some buildings probably are like, I don't even need this building. I don't even need to be in this building to to elicit some of the reaction and retention that I'm getting from the students who already I have bond with. So why do I come back? And so if they're not coming back, then I'm thinking about, wow, so who's gonna be these replacement teachers, right? Similar to at the beginning of the year when they were just they were onboarding subs just to cover classes who didn't necessarily have any expertise in education. Is that what it's gonna look like next year in around the country where it's like teachers are gonna coming back as a dub, I'm not coming back. And so now we're going to wait to the last minute and we're just going to be bringing in a bunch of people, a bunch of bodies to teach these kids, but are they really going to be prepared in a way that, that's going to make them resourceful for their students?
Yeah, well, I've seen, at least in Massachusetts, I've seen schools are partnering with hospitals now or organizations that can provide mental health support. So a lot of students are going to be getting one-to-one mental health services. So that's one obvious change that's going to happen because, of course, the big sloppy institution of public education, when it pivots back from hybrid to fully in person, the first thing it's concerned with is standardized testing. So, but when logical people speak their piece, then they say, oh, yeah, you're right. Mental health is probably we've been saying mental health is going to be the issue for forever. So now they're pivoting and saying, okay, mental health is a bigger issue than these standardized tests. If you look at any of here we have the MCAS. If you look at, it's Common Core testing anyways, but if you look at the questions on the standardized test through a COVID lens, which is inevitable, you can't not look at it that way. It's just insane. Like I was going through a test prep with one of my classes, a few of my classes, and you have to read 2 pretty long works of literature from different points of view. And then they'll ask you a question about the very first piece of literature. So you'll have to balance both of these, like this is thousands of words that you have to balance in your head to try to recall what happened in the very first one. That's almost with a COVID state of mind, if the attention span was short before COVID, my goodness. You think a kid, every kid that comes across that question who doesn't have the nerdiest parents, who's all over them, who doesn't have the most secure space to do homework or whatever, they're gonna just answer whatever to get past that, to get that question out of their life. Like nobody has the time and attention to be sitting there balancing thousands of words. They're definitely not gonna read it over again. So I'm trying to prepare them for that by telling them, look how ridiculous this question is, but also if you want to excel in this particular situation, this is what you have to do. Because some people is still attached, they're still so attached to the old system that they're still like, yo, I'm worried about my students' performance on these standardized tests. Some people still on it. Some people still want to save the system. You know what I mean? Some people still want to figure out how to make it work. So it's a fine balance.
Do you, in Massachusetts, their parents who don't feel comfortable with their kids opting back in, kids will still have the option to opt in remotely next year?
I think next year they're not going to give people an opt-out option. I think next year is going to be either you in the building or you in another school. They would have liked to do that this year, from what I can tell, but obviously it would have been too soon. So, but that's the vibes I get, because they already did that to the teachers. The teachers tried to finesse it, like, yeah, I'm gonna opt out, and like a couple teachers for good reason, I'm sure, like medical stuff and whatnot. But now they're like, no, you're a teacher. You need to be in the building or get another job.
That's like what Coach was saying too, like how some students was like, yo, Coach, I don't even see a reason to come back. I'm doing classes online. What's the point of me coming back? So this online stuff really is changing the game, because a lot of kids is like, I don't really care to come to the building. Like, I'm actually doing better on a computer. That's not the case for everybody, but you know, some kids is probably gonna opt out like some teachers are.
For sure.
But if you don't give them
option, is the question.
Yeah, if you don't give them if they don't have an option, and I think that's a very good point, to bring up. Like, for the kids who are excelling in this space, right, and who've done a great job, we're not going to tell them that though they did a great job, it doesn't matter. You got to do exactly what everybody else did who was failing, and now you get caught back into them. So even though they've been resilient, it doesn't matter. It's like, yo, yes, you got a 4.0 during COVID. That's great, but it doesn't matter. Bring your ass back to school, right? So it's like even the system on his head is still like, yo, yeah, we're gonna reward you. You know what I'm saying, by telling you need to come back to school like everybody else who failed, right? And so now what's gonna happen is there's gonna be a big boom in, like, like the Pearson schools and these primarily online institutions who have already been operating in this space. They're gonna get a lot more business next year, because if the school systems don't give an option, if it's either yay or nay, then I see a lot of kids, a lot of parents are like, yo, I just don't feel safe. Let alone if I don't feel safe and my kids got a 3.0, they'll figure it out. And if you talk about rising seniors, as a parent, you're like, yo, at this point, like, depending on where you're at, you just pretty much got to coast through. You know, you got to pass your classes, so they can do that in any school or any online school as long as it's accredited, and they'll be able to graduate. So it's ill to think about it that way. YB, like, the kids who are doing great, they're gonna be treated like they were struggling.
Yeah, my bad. There's some teachers too that not coming back to work, but they be in the club partying, but they talk about they not coming back to work because they scared of COVID. But you see when you go on Instagram or you see them on Snapchat, they over here maskless in some spot drinking. Yeah, that'd be crazy, bro.
But I can't get mad at them, though.
Crazy.
I can't get mad at them. Just like I can't get mad at the people who are deciding they don't want to get off of unemployment, because they getting this bread and they able to operate in their passion, and that's what I think it is. Like, a lot of people now, they're like, yo, like, you know what I'm saying, like, they're mad at Joe Biden for all of this relief, this $1 trillion of relief, and people don't want to opt back in and work. But nobody wants to. If you're not doing a job that you love, nobody wants to volunteer and opt back into the plantation. They're like, yo, I'm a freeze, boss. I'm a freeze man. I want to.
Yeah, that's a fact.
I don't want to come back to the. Oh, I want to voluntarily come back to the plantation. No sir, boss. No sir. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand how people are confused about that. Like, people are like, oh, this is messed up. People don't want to work no more. It's like, yo, if you worked in a job that you hated for 10 years and you had to go through the pandemic as a minority, and now you got some kind of relief and you've been able to operate in your passion, and the government that's supposed to be funding your passion that has never done it but now is doing it, yo, so what? The system is finally working for you.
Yeah.
So teachers don't want to come back.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you one cautionary tale on that one. When the bill comes, you can be certain we're gonna be the ones paying.
Absolutely.
So I'm with you though. I'm with you. For everybody who eating off of unemployment and living their life, that's what it's there for. Like that's actually what it's there for. Like this is a, you know, it's crazy that we pay taxes at all, but you know, that's tax dollars at work so that people can be supported in their time of need. And if you know, a lot of people need to experience that. A lot of people actually need to see, oh, I wanted to be a creative. I'm trying to be a creative. Like, let me give me some time to actually do this. Like, that's actually perfect. That should be a part of society. But you shouldn't feel like a thief doing it. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't feel like you finessing nobody. It should be like, oh, this is your time to really exploit. You said you was an entrepreneur. You said you was a creative. So let's see you do something. You know, this is your time to do something. If it ain't work out, if it don't work out, then you know that bill's coming regardless. That bill is coming. You think people could just print money out of nowhere and you're not gonna get hit with the bill for the inflation alone? That inflation bill is gonna be crazy. So if whatever the U.S. is gonna have to pay, Africa is gonna have to pay it 10 times. Latin America is gonna have to pay it 10 times. Black people are gonna have to pay it 10 times. Just watch. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If we within the system talking about anything, we already lost, bro. Like if we need land, we need to shift it up.
A lot of educators lost their job during COVID too, because they don't know how to operate a Zoom camera or a Zoom microphone. It's been a lot of, probably hundreds of thousands of teachers that have lost their
you
job.
sent me something about somebody was sucking on a nipple or something, huh?
Yeah, that's just one of the mini Zoom debacles in regards to from educators that I've seen. But yes, this lady had.
But was it flagrant though? Like, I don't know if you should get fired for that necessarily.
I mean, I didn't see the video because that wasn't on the article. But I think that if you're teaching class and you're licking nipples at the same time, I don't think there's room for much learning after that. I think, you know what I mean.
But all right, so boom, if you teach in class, let me give you another example then. If you teach in class, but your whiz come, all right, honey, I'm about to leave for work. You give her a little kiss, you know what I'm saying, a little smoocheroo.
I can get fired for that.
You get fired for that?
I mean, they sent out, the DOE sent out a Zoom protocols to curb some of this activity that was happening, and it's like, yo, you're supposed to treat your Zoom class as like a regular class. So if my wife wouldn't come in and give me a kiss in my classroom, then nobody else supposed to be in my my camera view.
I'm getting a kiss in the classroom, bro. I don't care. I'm getting a kiss. I might even slap a little yams.
I mean, I think that like if your wife, you know, I don't know. If a teacher, if a student
on the way out.
Yeah, but if not, you can get canceled for that. If a student now says that I feel like this teacher is this because look how you.
Then I'm gonna be on unemployment, living it up. Can you get unemployment if you get canned?
Nah, I don't know. Maybe under this new Biden Act, but if you get fired, you got to get laid off, or it has to be. You know what I mean? Like you have to get laid off. You can't be terminated for you to.
I'm just kidding.
In.
I'm just kidding. I would never do something like that, boss.
But yeah, but she's fired. Well, she got fired, or she didn't get fired. She's in the rubber room now, so she's still collecting a check. But I think that like that's like a microcosm of, I think that it's been so many cases like this that Zoom having to teach like virtually has opened educators up to either their lack of having a wherewithal to be able to shift the pendulum in ways that are effective for their students. But ultimately, if you're getting fired, your teaching style is not effective. Like if you're doing like even if you're forgetting to turn your camera off, like that's just a certain level of mindfulness. Like if you're ending class and you want to give your wife a kiss goodbye or something like that, you know, you should be able to think about, all right, let me turn my camera off. Now I feel like it's hard. Like you can't even tell kids now, like, yo, be more mindful. It's like, yo, listen, y'all educators is just as bad as us in regards to like the things that you ask from us as students. We saw for a full year, maybe not personally, but we saw for a full year that educators failed the same way we failed. And I think that is like next year is gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy for students who pay attention to that, but also know that they like their educator don't have no real power over them no more. Even back when they get back in the building, kids are gonna be like, "Yo, you don't got, yo, I've been turning my camera off on you for a whole 8 months. So yeah, I'm in your classroom, but watch how I turn you off in class." And now it's like, yo, like whatever that looks like, it's like, yo, how do you control that? Or do you spend time trying to make a big deal about that when it's like, yo, you've already this student has done this to you for 8 months. What? So why do you think it's going to be different in classroom? And so if you know this is going to be, do you let that student rock, or do you make a thing about it? And now 30 minutes in your class is trying to prove a point of trying to get kids reacclimated to what the classroom is. I think that as an educator, you're gonna have to look at the classroom differently, bro. Like you're gonna have to like, especially for those kids who are smart, all they want to do is shit on you or be the class clown. It's like, yo, they got a whole new world. A whole new world. You know what I'm saying? They gotta
and teachers gotta they gotta like since in District 2, like a lot of District 2 teachers been used to teaching a certain type of kid, they have to switch it up. I don't know if they can handle that. They have to switch it
What
up.
you
man.
mean, Robbie?
So it was a District 2 priority. So like a school like Lab, you know, Lab takes a certain type of kid. You got to have a certain type of grade. And now they eliminated that. So now they have to take a kid from the Bronx or the kid like that didn't have the grades to necessarily get into Lab, and they got to learn how to teach those kids now.
Yeah.
It's a lottery now. So it's like anybody can get in any school.
Right.
So now they gotta teach, you know, a kid that there was no algebra on that level, and they got to get used to that. And so now that's a whole different ball game. I don't know. A lot of teachers might be like, you know what? I didn't sign up for this. Now they got to manage behavior. They never had to do that before for the whole 10-year teacher. Now they got to figure out how to connect to a kid that don't come from the same neighborhood as them. It's different.
Yeah.
Huh?
That's a great point.
Yeah. Like I had a kid named Suleiman Ba. He was wild. That was my guy, but he was wild. Like he was hard to teach. You know what I mean? Like, and nobody so when I was working in summer school, this happened in summer school. When I was working summer school, the teachers didn't know what to do with him. They're like, yo, this kid. I was like, you know, I was constantly taking him on walks. I let him like, you know, get his time. And they were like, no, he has to sit down and do it. I'm like, obviously he's not gonna do it if you do it that way. Like, and so they didn't know what to do. They were getting mad at me because they felt like I was giving them too many breaks or whatever. And I'm like, you know, I'm trying to help you out. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to help you out. Him in the classroom, excuse me, he would distract everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, because he was so frustrated that he didn't understand what was going on in class. So the teachers were just struggling with that boy. Like, they're struggling with him. They're getting mad at me. They're like, oh, why is he in the gym again? I'm like, obviously, if I put him in the classroom, you know, let him run around, get tired a little bit, and then he'll sit down and at least be quiet in the class. You know what I'm saying? But now these teachers gotta learn how to handle these kids like Suleiman and all these other kids.
For sure. Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, so what else is new? What else is in the news? What else is newsworthy?
What else is newsworthy? I don't know.
I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily newsworthy, but I seen Jalen Rose crying on his Mother's Day about like it was his first Mother's Day without his mom, and then like mothers, like I was just thinking about mothers. Like yesterday's Mother's Day, it's been co-opted by Mother's Day is a business move more than a celebration of what it is to be a mother. I feel like why don't schools you know what I'm saying, like shouldn't schools, I was thinking like shouldn't schools be doing something for Mother's Day, like the public schools have these big budgets, and they service a lot of these kids that who come from single parent homes. But outside of saying that happy Mother's Day, like what do we really do to empower students, empower mothers, specifically mothers that need it? And then I sent that email to you with all this influx of capital that's coming in for the next school year. You see that email I sent you?
Yep.
Billions and billions of dollars, but who knows where it's going, right? Who knows? Like it's such a broad generalization of like where it's supposed to go. There's no way to really track like where this money is going next year. I know those are two different thoughts, but those are just something that I was thinking about.
Yeah, with regards to the bread, I think it's more important to build up an infrastructure for it to fall in securely, so people can feel comfortable. Like any one of those bullet points, you could build up a little infrastructure so people can feel comfortable, like, oh, they can handle that, and then the money will come. Like I think the vibration has to connect, and then of course there'll be the bureaucracy. Maybe you'll get it, maybe you won't, but it'll be similar to the GE Skills Lab thing. You run into the right person and do the work at the last minute and get it done. I think that's very possible. With Mother's Day, I agree with you, man. I think there should be a whole maternal. I think schools should be a maternal experience, and I think it's worth mentioning. But again, are we still trying to fix the same system?
Do you think critical race theory is damaging? I know we talked about this earlier, but like critical race theory is damaging for the kids who are learning it, not just the kids who are outside of or not minorities, but just in general. Do you think it's a negative thing?
What is critical race theory? I'm not familiar.
It's anti-racist training. It's like basically anti-racist training. That's what I mean. That's what somebody from who soundbited it would be like. Yeah, it's basically how not to be racist, and or what is perceived as how not to be racist, and educating people about their privilege. So similar to the earlier statement about the other article about just teaching about Black Lives Matter and teaching about privilege and stuff like that as it relates to what it takes, what education looks like for minorities.
Yeah, I think it's fine to be critical, but I think when you frame it in the woke context, so just think about how ridiculous it is that you're telling someone within the same system that's still systemically racist that it is systemically racist. Like think about how ridiculous that is. You're telling people from within the same system that the system is jacked up. Like, so why are you telling them that? Why aren't you fixing it? Like, why aren't you spending your every waking day actually addressing the issue? Like, why are you talking about it? You know what I'm saying? It makes no sense. It's fake. That's my point. It's like anytime you preaching from something that's fake, you're never gonna win the people. Of course, people are gonna Of course, white people are going to feel offended. And of course, black people who are actually woke are going to be like, yo, what is this even? Like, what are y'all doing? Let me teach you how to be less racist from within this racist institution. It's like, what? It don't work that way. Nothing does.
Yeah, I'm done with those meetings, man.
Yeah, you can't. It's just a waste of everybody's energy. It's like, so I'll tell you what, it's the same people Dr. Martin Luther King was talking about, the white moderates. That helps to soothe their egos. But like he said, also, they are the biggest problem.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to force them to pick a side and stay on that side. It's not just pick a side when it's popular. Yo, you know how angry I get now seeing these Black Lives Matter flags? Across from the charter school, there's a dentist's office, or a doctor's office, sorry. And it's they got a couple of Teslas. They got a big American flag flying. Underneath that, a Black Lives Matter flag flying, like both pretty big, just the American flag is a little bit bigger. And the name of the complex is Indian Hill Medical Center. Now, I walk by this every day, just like, yo, you got to even pick which thing you want to be frustrated about first. Like there's so many contradictions that it's like, oh, so you're having an identity crisis and you have multiple Teslas, and obviously you did okay for yourself. You're a doctor, you know what I'm saying? But like, you're supposed to be one of the smartest of society, and you're completely conflicted. Like, if you think what Black people care about is Black Lives Matter, like you think in 2021, I need you to tell me that my life matters enough for you to wave a flag on it, you're tripping. You think you need to wave an American flag like it's clear. Obviously, you won. We get it, America. You won. You did it. Like big styrofoam number one finger. You conquered the world. You know what I'm saying? You don't still need to wave your flag. We get it. Like the strongest military, the dollar is the strongest. You got that. American flag, Black Lives Matter. And then the name of the place is Indian Hill Medical Center. Bro. Christopher Columbus called the Native Americans Indians because he thought he was in India. Why are we still calling Native Americans Indians? That's crazy. So there's so much there. And I brought this up at a meeting, and somebody was riding with me on it. But, you know, it died because if you're within the institution in and of itself, that's been think about it like this. If you've been eating junk food and genetically modified food and drinking 40s and not taking care of yourself for 20 years, 30 years of your life, and then all of a sudden you want to get healthy and you spend like a hot girl summer getting healthy or 8 months getting healthy, are you healthy? Nah, that's going to take a lot of time for your body to register like, oh, this is what it feels like to be healthy. Oh, this got to be a consistent thing. After a year or 2 or 3, then you start to see real gains. You know what I'm saying? Like your metabolism ticks up. And so America is just at the very early points of just trying to decide if it wants to be healthy.
Did y'all hear the vice president say America wasn't racist?
Yeah.
That joint blew my.
Like that. America's not a racist country. It's just that.
Yeah, I seen that. It was like, what? I thought it was like a joke. And then I was like, I see them saying. I'm like, oh no. That set us back a few years.
It's tough being in any kind of form of government, especially the highest form of government, and also be Black, because you still have to opt into the program. You have to opt into the program, and I think anybody that knows,
Why?
because like that the program that's the system. Like you, like the president of the United States, she's the assistant coach. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, where if you play
But
for
he's saying, why do you have to opt in? Like,
because to me, like if you coaching, if you was coaching for Pat Riley, you know what I'm saying? Like you would, if Pat Riley said we playing 90 feet and nobody gonna get tired. I don't care if you tired, that we don't get tired on my team. Then the assistant coach is gonna then say, yeah, we don't get tired. If Joe Biden says, yo, as a unified front, we're saying that America isn't racist, then Camilla has to, she has to support that, even if she knows that's not necessarily the case. She can't. Biden can't say the word.
I see what you're saying. But like, okay, so you think God put you in these leadership positions to be listening to the next man all the whole time? Like, obviously, your moment is gonna come up early and often. You gotta step into your moment. Like that was her moment, and she was just like, I don't think that was pressure at all. I think she might actually believe that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying too. I think she actually deep down believes that America's not racist.
Yeah,
because she probably has it. I don't know. I can't speak for her, but I don't know if she experienced a racism in her life. She probably has, but like,
I'm sure she has. Maybe she's been eating off the system well enough to where she says, well, if this got me here, then clearly it's not racist. Like, I'm the vice president. Like, what you gonna do? So it's like, cool.
That's why I feel like it set us back a few years, because it's like I could see how people could gravitate to that and be like, yeah, she's the president, she's the vice president, she's a black woman, and America's not racist.
But to me,
meanwhile,
to me, her saying that wasn't as bad as when Biden had his first State of the Union talk or whatever. He kept referencing about this historic moment that two women were in back of him standing up, you know what I'm saying, at the podium, whereas it never happened before. Like those two seats in the back of him were usually men, and he kept that was a big part of his speech. But ultimately, to me, I saw two women standing in back of a white man with masks on their face, not being able to talk. So like to me, that was more damning than her saying, than her being wrong, or maybe, you know what I'm saying, giving her experience rather than the experience of all black women, saying that it's not racist. But the optics of seeing this the old white man talking about, look how far we've come. You know what I'm saying? Where two ladies can stand up and back of me while I continue to talk and nod their head in approval.
Honey, could you give me a drink?
Yeah, like I was like, but then what you see is the narrative. People are like, yeah, look at this moment that we're in. This is so powerful. And ultimately, it's like, is it like they're standing up and sitting down and clapping? They weren't given the floor, but it was used to mark this momentous occasion of change that, you know what I'm saying, women who came from second class citizens are now able to sit behind me while I still do what I do as, you know what I'm saying, being white in America. I think the optics and the message behind that was way more damning than Camilla saying, oh, America's not racist.
But we knew what type of time Biden was on when he went on the Breakfast Club and he said, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. So we already, we knew what type of time he was on. With her, we didn't really know. Yeah. So that's why I felt like that's a little bit more damaging. We knew what type of time he was on. Like, we just wanted Trump out of there. You feel me? Nobody really was like he's the better one. He was just like, yo, we just gotta get that guy out of there.
That's a good point. Like, that's us, because we don't know nothing about Kamala, and she was a prosecutor. Like, so if maybe people don't know that, so they think her comment is very left field as a black woman, but she was a prosecutor. So
that's crazy. She got a lot of people to jail.
Yeah. So I mean, but again, I think it all cycles back to the position from which you're speaking. Like, if you're talking about black people within the system, then maybe we are still making progress in a healthy fashion. You know what I'm saying? But for me personally, I don't feel connected to the system at all. I feel like I'm surviving in it. I'm doing what I can, being like brought to this position unwillingly. I like when some of my students push back and they're like, "But coach, you could have left a long time ago." Because I'm like, I did leave. You know, I left. I saw a lot of opportunity for us, but ultimately, it's going to be a matter of being able to generate capital in another place to sustain the dreams that I still have. Like, I don't want to just go and survive. Like, I have dreams that I still want to see play out in the world. So this is a sacrifice that I'm making so that I can stay connected with, you know, like, still be connected with my people and what I've built up here before I transition.
I just think people just be so emotionally invested in things that, you know, like the logic or the things that are attached to a particular person or a particular campaign. Like, people don't, like, if people actually sat down and said, you know what I mean, outside of Obama being black, how did your life change? I know me personally, I saw, you know what I'm saying, I'm 37 now. There's not been one president that actually had any effect on my life, like my own personal life, in regards to it changed. Like, the things they put in place changed the trajectory of my life in their 4 years or 8 years. And so that's not a knock against Obama. I'm just saying Obama, Trump, Biden, like, none of these presidents, in regard while they were there, affected my life. You know, and I think that we get this. They sell the campaign. They sell the elective officials as part of this Disney narrative, right? Kamala was African American, and so she was designated for the ticket because Biden knew that his ultimate success, he needed her. Had he had the opportunity. Had he had the opportunity to bring somebody else on, he probably would have, right? The year that Obama won, they had to decide. The system had to decide whether it was going to be a black man or a woman. And when him and Hillary were going at it, and the system decided we'd rather a Negro than a woman. We're not ready for a woman, whether it doesn't matter what color she is. And that's what I mean. Like, when I hear Biden talking about this great change, it's like, yo, bro, like, we had a woman run for president, and the system decided that they weren't ready for a woman to be president, and so they picked the lesser of two evils and decided that, okay, if we got to pick one, we'd rather be a black man than a woman. And so it lets you see. To me, it let me see, like, yo, wow, it's crazy how the system is on women, and then which maybe they be like, yo, damn, it's so, and then that's how it is on women who are already at a high aptitude in regards to their worldliness. To see what the world does to a black woman is crazy, and that's why I think this Kamala joint is just part of the plan.
Part of the plan, like, to disenfranchise us more.
Yeah,
to control.
I think that's always part of the plan. I don't know what this next 4 years plan will be, you know, but I think that young black women can see themselves in her, you know, and realize that, you know, they can do anything and things are possible. I think that's one of the added bonuses of Kamala being in where she's at. But I don't know, you know, outside of that, and like the statement that Kenny said, like, what other benefit will we get from having Kamala as vice president for the next 4 years? You know what I'm saying? What moves will she be able to make that's going to get passed through the House? Like, ultimately, is she just going to be a black figurehead that is not the president now, but is now the system can say, look how much we've changed, look how much we've grown. We went from having a black president for 8 years, and now we have our first black vice president. Look how much we've grown. But ultimately, we're all going to be in the same space. When they come to collect the bread after all this money they're giving out, like you said, the receipt's going to be on us. And so it's like, what actually has transpired? What change has actually happened? Yes, we have hope. We had hope with Obama. I think the person who curated Obama's campaign was masterful, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, and people felt enthralled and engaged with the campaign of change. But ultimately, what has changed? And I'm not saying this is because of Obama or not because of Obama, but the system is like, all right, yeah, we can let a black man in, but he's not going to be able to do anything. You know what I'm saying? Because we still have the house. You know what I'm saying? We try to send it. So yeah, though it may be like it may look wonderful, but ultimately the things that we have in place will stay in place. And I think that happens in this next 4 years.
I'm with you.
But I do think it's good for young women of color to be able to see themselves in positions of power. But I don't think that people should be enthralled with a black woman being in power, because I don't that vice seat doesn't necessarily hold a lot of power. It doesn't matter who's in it, whether it be a man or a woman.
Well, I'm with you. I completely agree. I think the difficulty level on staying sane is increasing exponentially. So just imagine that you're a young woman, young lady in America, and you go to a woke school, which is, you know, and so you're learning that America is racist, but you also know it's weird because you're in the same institution, the same country, criticizing it. And then you also have Kamala Harris saying America is not a racist country. How do you balance all of that? Like, how do you come to terms with all of these conflicting ideologies? You know, as a 12-year-old, as a 10. So what it's doing is, the more we listen to these meatheads go back and forth on stuff that we know intuitively, the more we expose ourselves to their narratives, the more we go crazy. Like, we get stuck with the bill again. It's like, if you're a young black woman, your school is probably teaching you how America is racist now, with still racist teachings in it, and still a racist institution. And you just heard Kamala Harris say America is not racist. Mm-hmm. And everyone knows she's drinking the Kool-Aid. Or maybe not. Maybe you form your own opinion based off of that. But either way, you're going to have mad voices in your head. So the trick is to divide and conquer or drive them crazy, which is the same thing mentally. So well, I didn't actually see. What did you see the interview? Like, what was the premise like of her making that statement? Some black Republican came out and said it. America is not a racist country. And then she was asked to comment on it, and she said, while I don't think America is a racist country, I do think we have to come to terms with the truth of our history.
Meanwhile, there's some elected official that's calling another black elected official or some kind of jigaboo or some kind of like that, like just yesterday. There's somebody.
Did you hear what Jackie Onassis said about Martin Luther King? Jackie Kennedy?
I didn't.
She was like, oh, that? No, she's dead. That was a long time ago. But she was like, oh, that man he's the worst of the worst. He's horrible. Mm-hmm. Talking about Dr. King. This is Jackie Kennedy. You know, everybody was jocking her. Mm-hmm. Reagan calling people monkeys. Yo, man. Listen, man. Trump got 40, 50 mil. Like, he got almost half of the vote. bro. Not like a third, not a quarter, like half. Still.
Mhm.
That's really bad.
No, it's definitely crazy. I'm definitely, I like. I would wonder. I'm gonna ask some young ladies how, like, what do they think about that statement? You know, Max Michelle and some of the, because I wonder what they think. You know, they able to see with their own eyes, been able to have to endure racist things, and then to see somebody that they possibly look up to tell them that it's not racist, right? That's almost equivalent of, like, you know, and this something that I was talking about over the weekend, that, you know, historically, you know, America, you know, black women have not only been raped by the system, but they've been raped by their own kind. Like, I know many young women that personally have been molested or you know, preyed on by family members.
Most
And yeah, and so now it's like, you know, they have to come to grips with that, and then also this to have to get through all of that, and then, you know, you go tell your mom, this happened to me, and your mom says, no, that didn't happen, because the mother can't handle it. The mother is too much for the mother to handle. So rather than, you know, hear you out, it's like, no, it didn't happen, right? And so, like, I think that's likened to what I feel like and I don't know, I'm not a black woman, but I can see a young woman feeling like, wow, like, word, Camilla, like, that's what you saying, but I know that I'm getting, just today I was, you know what I'm saying, I was treated a certain way, but I'm looking at you, I'm looking at somebody I look up to telling me, no, you're fine, that didn't happen to you. That's powerful stuff, yo.
crazy. Yeah, man. Let me see. I forgot to ask. What you got for breakfast today?
Oh wow, I had a McDonald's got a 2 for $5, so I had a egg McGriddle, and I had a egg and cheese biscuit. I got two because I got two because I mean, the 2 for $5 is the greatest deal right now, because for a breakfast sandwich I'm spending, for one breakfast sandwich from the bodega, I'm spending probably $3.85. With the tax is $4. So I'm winning right now. But I usually get two because I give one to Tom. But Tom was I don't know where he was at. So by the time I got done with that first sandwich, I looked around, there was no Tom in sight. So I'm gonna go ahead, you know what I'm saying, do what I gotta do. So I definitely had two McDonald's breakfast sandwiches, but I definitely did 200 pull-ups and push-ups today. So, you know what I'm saying, I don't feel as bad.
Yeah, I mean, some days, and today felt like that type of day. You just needed to just do what make you happy. Find your. Today was like just be okay. It's not gonna be perfect. It's just you know. If I was eating, I definitely would have splurged today. I feel you.
When is sunset today?
Like 8.
8.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to hit Beatty up because I was itching. I was like, yo, matter of fact, it was earlier today. I was like, please tell me Ramadan is almost over. It's like, we got like 2 or 3 more days. I said, I was hoping it was tomorrow.
But you at the finish line.
Right. Yeah.
And I like the one thing about Ramadan, like, if you decide to break fast, like, you could always make those days up. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You don't gotta kill yourself or beat yourself up about it. You know what I'm saying? I think that's important. That's not necessarily something that, you know, all people know. I mean, if you know, you know. You know what I'm saying? But, like, there has to be some room for mistakes. You know what I'm saying? Where it doesn't, you don't feel bad about it, right? But you know what I'm saying? You don't beat yourself up about it. So I think I always think about that. That's my life.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Yeah, this one has been the most rewarding Ramadan, like, by far. I think I had one food cheat day, and, like, when Mocha Mott's first opened up, we had to make that run. So it was like a Saturday, a couple Saturdays ago. I had to do that, and then just like a couple of, to me it's just food and drink. That's the real thing. So really it was just that. And then but this year has been the most rewarding one because it's so interesting to see how addicted I am to just making myself feel a little better. You know what I'm saying? That's what food really ends up being for me. It's like that coffee really makes me feel a little better. Like that, it'll get me through. And it's like, it really works. So I'm not knocking myself for that. But also it's like there comes a point where you have to find something deeper than just something that's coming from the external. So this Ramadan really taught me that in depth. It was pretty powerful, man. And also just to slow it down, I'd be stuck in fast forward. So this Ramadan really helped me slow it down, man.
And it's ill you tap in with Beatty. It's ill, like we talk about, like being able to tap in with somebody, you know what I'm saying, that for all is your peer now, but somebody that you used to, and now you tapping in with him about something that y'all doing together that he's, you know what I'm saying, he may be more knowledgeable on. I think
Absolutely.
And that's what we talk about. That's the dopest part of like staying connected to the kids you end up educating or teaching, or you know what I'm saying, like to be able to tap in and act. I hit Mo telling Mo, what you think about these? Is this fresh? Is Mo tapped in? Mind you, I got my own opinion on what's fresh, but I know Mo tapped in, so to be able to, what you think? That's always good to be able to do.
Yes.
I wanted to tell you. I forgot right now. I'm saying I wanted to say, but I forgot it. I was thinking about when you was talking, or whatever.
Yeah, man. Let's see. Let me look through the banners. For anyone who, we got somebody on here. Let's throw that connective down. You know what I mean? Go give money.
Word.
Go give money now.
Word.
Yo, I still got that check. It's crazy. I gotta get to the post office. That's $300.
Yeah, word. That definitely helps.
Yeah, man. That's it. I don't know. Got anything else?
No. I think that was good. I think the Kamal. I think I'm gonna think about the code and that. Not the code, but talking to some young ladies a little bit more about that, because I think, like we said, I think that's very, if that's not decoded, if people are not decoding that, if people are like upset about it, specifically educators, and they're like, I can't believe she said, don't create space to decode that message. That could be very problematic for some young ladies that's on the fence, just trying to figure out.
Yeah, that's a heartbreaker. That's a heartbreaker.
Yeah. So what I would say is that, if you're educated, specifically if you got daughters, if you're a father or a mother, you're educated, try to unpack, not even unpack, have a conversation with your daughter or the young ladies that to get their thoughts on that, because they might not have that conversation with their peers, and it's an important conversation to have, whether you agree or disagree. That was a very powerful statement that was levied, and if it's not unpacked, it's irresponsible.
Big facts.
But yeah, salute the doors. Supermax season.
Sorry about last week. It was Coach's fault.
Yeah, I apologize, but we right back to it like ain't nothing to it. And salute the doers, you heard?
That's it. All right.
Coach, it's Monday, bro.
Yes, sir.